So I'm sitting in my dorm room. It's my freshman year of college at University of North Dakota. I'm with my buddy Christian. And we're about to head out to a party. We're about 6 or 7 beers deep. A couple bong hits in there somewhere. And we are just really in this, one of those conversations where you find yourself with one of your good friends when you're really drunk or something, and you just feel like you know each other and you're getting into a real intimate conversation. And somewhere along the line we stumble across this idea of why we're at school. And quite honestly, one of my buddies stumbled in. There was a tequila shot somewhere in there. We both passed out. We never answered it. But the next day, I remember that I was thinking to myself of why we brought this up and why we were even asking ourselves this question. And I never really knew why I wanted to go to school. It just seemed kind of like the next place to go. You know, when you're in high school, senior year, you're applying for colleges and all this stuff, and it just seemed like wrong if you wanted to stay home. Those kids that did stay home, it seemed like they were almost looked down upon, like when, you know, the kids come back from college that they really had nothing to say. So my first year at college went okay. You know, I'm doing the bare minimum to get by. I wasn't put on academic probation, but I'm definitely not like an honor student by any means or anything like that. And I did okay. There wasn't anything too big going on, but I joined a fraternity. I'm a very social person. And the next year, I was just it just went absolutely the opposite way. I lived off campus for the first time, and I was 2 miles away from campus. I was living in my own apartment. I had actually only been to class 4 times that entire semester. And we were partying, we were drinking, we were doing everything normal college students seem to do. I was trying to live the American dream, but I was more or less living the American pie dream. And anything I could get my hands on, I was doing it. And I remember my parents came up there one weekend to visit me. And my mom and dad, with an instant look, just looked at me, and I was so drained. I had been partying out the night before, and you know, they just said, "Wow, I think you might just need to come home and like restart your life a little bit." And it didn't take too much time until I realized, you know, this might be a good idea. So I went home, back to Shakopee. I enrolled at the local community college of Normandale there, and I was doing okay. You know, once again, not an honorary student, but I was just doing the bare minimum not to get put on probation. I don't like those meetings. And basically, that winter, I was hanging out with some of my old high school friends. You know, that's what you do when you go home. And we were still partying and drinking a little bit, but not too much. But I got my first DWI that winter. And it is embarrassing when your parents have to come pick you up from jail. That's not anything you want to look at your parents in the eye and say, "Yeah, I just got out of jail that night." But that's what I did. And I remember a couple months later, as I'm, you know, getting a ride to school because I have suspended license, you know how that goes. I remember telling them I want to start again at a university, and I want a second chance. I want to be able to get out of here. I'm not living my life any different down in Shakopee. I need a different change. And so they agreed, and I enrolled here at Mankato State University. I was really excited. I found a couple guys that I went to high school with that were living down here. They were just getting an apartment above the bars, and so my argument to my parents was, "Yeah, Mom, Dad, I don't have to drive. I could just go to the bar." After a while, it seemed to me that it wasn't going to work out. But in the beginning, when I remember walking into school, and I just thought it was going to be a whole new beginning for me. It was so exciting. You see all the kids again. They're wearing their backpacks. They're going to the library. Everyone's socializing. It's my type of atmosphere. And to say it simply, I did it again. My teachers would not have known my name. I don't think they still know my name. I was not in class. I was partying down at the bars. I was drinking. I was doing everything I normally would have. I was smoking, everything. And I got put on academic probation for the first time. That winter, I got my second DWI, if I need to clarify. Anyways, and I was really stressed. I knew this one wasn't going to be like the first one. It's not just like a slap on the wrist. And I was worried, and school wasn't going very well. I had been in and out of court a couple months, and I knew that I was going to have to serve some jail time for this. The next semester, I was kicked out of Mankato State here. I was suspended for a year. I wrote my appeal in less than 5 minutes. I feel pretty good about that. But it never did go through. I remember after school had ended, about a month after school had ended, I was just getting past my birthday. I wanted to spend my birthday. I didn't want to go to jail for my birthday, but I had to turn myself in. And so I turned myself in, and there's something extremely powerful when you hear those cell doors shut. And I just remember thinking to myself, wow, where have I come in the last 3 years? I was doing well. I was so excited to go to University of North Dakota. I was so excited to be back at MSU. But somewhere along the line, it just wasn't clicking for me. This foggy path that I had been going down was just insane, and I could not picture myself anywhere. But certainly not in jail. So, besides the 16 books I read during these 30 days, 4 2,000-piece puzzles, and playing a lot of crossword with myself, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to start making like a couple goals for myself, right? To get back when I was able to get back into school after my year-long suspension, I wanted to make a couple goals, and one of them was which I'm going to go to class every single day, regardless if I'm on deathbed or whatever. The second one was I wanted to meet with my teachers twice a week, so they knew who I was. If nothing else, have a little sympathy for the guy. And I remember when I got out of jail, I had to figure out something to do for a year. So I went over to Madison, and there's a Schmidt siding and roofing business. I don't know if you guys know about that, but that's where I worked for an entire year. And if there's one thing I've learned from that, I am not a roofer. It is a lot harder than you think it is. And when those guys were out there pounding nails on a roof in the middle of winter, I was inside warming up my hands. And I remember being let back into school, and I just thought to myself, wow, this is the time I'm going to turn it all around. And I did. I went to class every single day. Some days I felt like I was going to die. And I met with my instructors who finally got to know a guy a little bit and was probably a little bit nicer to me, that I actually stopped in and said hello every now and then. And I did well. I got a 3.0 GPA. That was the highest I'd ever been in high school, regardless of high school, and definitely in college. So the next semester I said, I'm going to make a couple more goals for myself, and I did. I made a couple more. One of them was that I wanted to start getting back into the gym. I was a lazy kid. All I wanted to do was sit on the couch. So I wanted to get back into the gym. I wanted to get a 3.5 this semester, and I did, except for the 3.5. I got a 3.4. But that is by far the best I had ever done. And ever since then, this road I was on was starting to look a little bit clearer. This last summer, I got back from my internship in Saudi Arabia. I traveled the world a little bit. I got to go to Dubai, Bahrain. I traveled with the big boys to Chicago for a meeting. It was pretty cool for me. And I also, this last week, I got a job interview for 3M. This whole idea to me, reflecting back, is just insane, because I could never picture myself being where I am today, speaking in front of you people today. I normally would have an anxiety attack. And it just seems unreal to me that I've come this far. And all I know is that in this foggy road, I'm starting to become a little bit more clear to me every single day. And all I know is May 28th, I'll be walking across the building over there where I graduated. I should probably know the name. But I'll be there. Thank you.